Hello and welcome to section 10.4. In this section, we're going to be looking at empirical and molecular formulas. I am going to break this down into a couple different videos because it's a longer section. And today we're going to actually start off by looking at percent composition so that we can find empirical and molecular formulas down the road. Percent composition is nothing more than the percent by mass of each element in a compound. So what that means is if you have like a water molecule and you want to find out what percent of hydrogen makes up that water molecule or what percent of oxygen is making up that molecule, then you can use percent by mass or percent composition to find that. Now we have two different ways that we can find it. One, if you are given experimental data, and you would know it's experimental because it will say in a lab so-and-so measured, or in a lab I measured the mass of this compound to be whatever. That's how we know that we have an experimental set of data. So to find it from an experimental set of data, you're going to take the mass of your element and you're going to divide it by the mass of the compound that you found in your lab setting and then multiply it by 100 to convert over to a percentage. If you are not in a lab setting and we're kind of looking more on a theoretical side of things, we can actually use the chemical formula. When you use a chemical formula, then you're going to assume that you have exactly 1 mole of the compound, and then we're going to use the chemical formula to help calculate the molar mass of the compound, and we do that by getting the molar mass off from the periodic table, adding them up, and so on. So if we're looking at percent composition of a chemical formula, we're going to take the mass of an element in 1 mole, okay, and we're going to divide that by the molar mass of the compound, and again multiply by 100 to convert to a percent. So I'll show you what we mean by that here in our next example. So if we look at example 15, it says sodium hydrogen carbonate, or baking soda, is an active ingredient in some antacids that are used in the relief of indigestion. We want to find the composition of sodium hydrogen carbonate. Because we are not measuring the mass of baking soda in a lab setting, we're going to actually go ahead and use the compound itself, and they give that to us right here, the NaHCO3, and we're going to first of all, we're going to find the molar mass. Okay, so if we start out with that, the molar mass of sodium, so I'm going to put sodium over here. If I look that up on the periodic table, we get 22.99 grams per mole. Then for hydrogen, we have 1 hydrogen. So that's going to give me 1.008 grams per mole. Then we have carbon. Carbon is going to give us 12.01 grams per mole. And then for our oxygen, we're going to have 3 times 16 or 15.999 grams per mole. And if I multiply 3 by 16, I actually get 48 grams per mole. So if I add all of these up, okay, I'm going to end up with 84.01 grams per mole. Now, if you think about this mathematically, I essentially have all of my parts here, and this right here is my whole. So I can go ahead then and divide all these individual masses, which are my parts, by the whole to calculate their percentage. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each of these numbers by the 84.01, and that would be grams per mole. So my units will cancel out. And if I multiply that by 100, we end up with 27.4%. And I'm going to divide this one by the 84.01 grams per mole. Multiply that by 100, and we can see that this makes up 1.2%. And I'm just going to keep doing this for all of these. So for carbon, we're dividing that by 84.01 grams per mole, multiplying it by 100, and here I get 14.3%. And then with my oxygen, I divide that 48 by 84.01, and it should be grams per mole, but I'm running out of room here, times 100, and here we get 57.1%. So now if you add up all of these percentages here, you should get something that's really close to 100% because these are the parts and these are the whole. So this is how you're going to find your percent compositions. Please let me know if you have any questions and have a good day.